Good afternoon, welcome to Mindset Monday, and today I've got another challenge. Oh my goodness. If you want to know how to overcome the possibility of having COVID, you come in proximity with someone and what precautions to take, how to stay positive throughout, and generally take that as a lesson for life, then join me for Mindset Monday for the next hour. And I think I'm in the wrong studio. Relax Radio. Maybe I'm in the right studio now. Oh dear. So Mindset Monday, there you go. That's what I was looking for before. That's what I wanted to play. And join me after the break for keeping a positive mindset no matter what for the next hour. See you right after the break.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, yeah, 24 hours, and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio. Relax Radio.
Welcome back to me, Caroline Ainsley, with my mask on. Now, I was actually considering taking my mask off. Let me tell you the story. So the story is Christmas Day. Everything's grand. We have a little bit of a I'm in Spain, so the rules are different in Spain than they are in England. I don't know what the rules are in other countries, but in Spain, we could have small gatherings, and we chose to have ours outdoors, which was grand. And then in the afternoon, one family came to join us, and we had a small gathering indoors. And turns out that one of those people, in fact, one of those people definitely tested positive, got sick shortly after, and the results, I had to wait and wait and wait and wait. In the meantime, I had arrived at my sister's house, and I got the news just before arriving that this person was ill. So we're like, okay, mask on, get in the bedroom, I'm in a bedroom, and stay there, basically, with a mask on at all times, including bedtime. Well, that is a little bit of a challenge, I've found, at least, even for me. And I have a pretty positive outlook. I was really upset because I was inconveniencing my sister. I was arriving in time for my niece's 7th birthday, and her birthday had to be, well, she was only going to have one friend over, and they were going to play on the roof outdoors, but nonetheless that had to be cancelled. So my 7-year-old niece had to basically grin, bear it, and not have a birthday celebration. And now that was on the 30th, and that was day 5 after exposure. Today is day 10 after exposure, and I'm as hale and hearty as can be, but I'm also very aware of the fact that apparently the statistics say that 1 of every 3 positive COVID people do not display any symptoms whatsoever. So I'm not displaying any symptoms. 10 days later, no symptoms whatsoever. And but we only just got the results of the positive test on Saturday. So then it's like, okay, how do I get a COVID test? And I had to basically I needed to have the test this morning. I couldn't wait any longer. My poor niece is still waiting for her birthday party. And so I just booked a place online, didn't know who I was booking with. And I'll tell you the story about that in a minute, because that was another story in of itself. But I now have had my COVID test. So in a way, that's good. I've managed to have the PCR test, the proper one, not the fast one. Now I've got in case you don't know about that, that's another story. The fast one, it can we'll talk about that in a minute. But I've had my full PCR test this morning, and I'm hoping to get the results super quick. Well, not till tomorrow afternoon, which by Spanish time means by 7 p.m. So if my niece gets to have her birthday party, it's going to be after 7 p.m. tomorrow night. If Auntie Caroline tests negative, which we're all pretty confident that I will test negative, but if we're so confident I tested negative, why have I been through this whole experience? And the whole family has been through the whole experience. I've had to stay isolated. My poor sister's been literally feeding me, bringing me trays of food, staying at the door. She wears a mask. My niece has to wear a mask if she ever opens the door a little bit to say, "How are you, Auntie Caroline? I want to play." And she has to wear a mask. And my brother-in-law can't see his family at all. And because of the people that test positive, 1 in 3 have no symptoms. And a lot of the positive testings are purely because they go into hospital. They are in situations where they have to have a COVID test, PCR test, and then they test positive. Now, I didn't have the rapid test because I have friends, well, one friend in particular was traveling, and they took the rapid test and it was positive. And so then they had to have the full PCR test, which was a resounding negative. The rapid test can be, I don't know how many different rapid tests there are, but certainly there are rapid tests that are completely deceiving, and there's no way I wanted to do that. So even though I could have got a result in 4 hours, that result could have been a false positive. So apparently they just tell you that you have at some point had COVID or something. Anyway, so I'm going to keep this mask on. So I'm terribly excited. We'll just do lots of eye contact. There you go. Well, it doesn't matter for those of you that are just listening, but for those of you, oh, hello, got a comment. Let's see. Well, number one, there's a question. It says, will I test positive for COVID-19? See, there's a good example of how to stay positive, and that was one of the suggestions I was going to make, which is make jokes, be light-hearted, not light-headed. I was going to say light-headed, not light-headed, light-hearted about it. Will you test positive for COVID-19? Well, number one, will you take the test? Let me see. Let me analyze this question. Will I test positive for COVID-19? Well, number one, yes. Are you going to take a test? If you're not going to take a test, well, you ain't going to test positive for it, no matter what. That's just a silly question. It's just a silly question. Made me laugh this. I'm not complaining about it. Okay. Oh, let's see. Oh my goodness. I think we're going to get a oh dear, I'm a bit nervous now. Something's about to appear. I think Harry's back. Happy New Year, Harry. Happy New Year, everyone, by the way. I haven't wished you a Happy New Year since I got back. But then since last week, I've been in this situation. So now, why am I wearing a mask full time? Well, protocol says to stay isolated. And if I was in a place completely on my own, it wouldn't matter. Because, like, for example, when I'm in my flat in London, if I'm like when I've been in quarantine because of traveling, I put a mask on when I open the door, but the rest of the time I can remain without a mask at home, of course, but not here. Full protocol says I should wear a mask just in case I test positive. If I test positive, then as long as I've been wearing a mask and staying isolated in my room, then in theory, everybody else in the house is safe. And so I have been wearing this, not the same mask, obviously refreshing the mask, but looking like this, feeling like this since last Wednesday. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, that's 6 days that I've been wearing this mask. And it's not fun. It's definitely not fun. So I don't know what's going to appear. I'm waiting for this to appear still. There's something about a test. I don't know if Harry's going to put it up or not. Hi. Hi, Samad. Thank you for your comments. It's good to see you. Hello. And so what to do? How to stay positive? Well, thing number one was exactly that. So I'm going to demonstrate. What do you do first? You keep make sure you're watching things that are positive. If you're going to watch television, if you're going to duvet dive, then watch things that are going to keep your spirits up. That's super important. And one of the things you can do is, well, I've been watching a lot of comedy, but I'm quite picky with my comedy. I have to say, somebody that I am a huge follower of is Trevor Noah. Actually, I'm going to just divert for a moment. I've got a couple of minutes before the break. Trevor Noah, I might talk about him in a minute, but he's written a book called Born a Crime. So he was actually born in South Africa at a time during apartheid when basically people in South Africa, they're black people, they're colored people, they're white people. That's the way it's set out in South Africa, and that's the way it's described. And his mother, his black, I think she's a Sotho or a Zulu, I'm not quite sure which. I think they're from Soweto anyway. And she had a relationship with a white Swiss gentleman, and Trevor was born, and he was not actually allowed to walk down the street with his mother. If he and I assume the mother would have been arrested, but apparently he would have been arrested too. And there were lots of situations that he could not simply not go in. He couldn't actually play in his own garden, in his own backyard in Soweto, because if he was spotted by certain people, he had to be kept hidden, basically. There were some situations where he didn't and some where he did. The point is, he was literally born. The title of his book is such a clever title, Born a Crime. And he talks about his grandmother. He had actually interviewed his grandmother. He calls her Coco. And if you get a chance to see that video where he interviews his grandma, his Coco, and he brings in this crew of big burly white gentlemen, and she responds to them, and he asks how she feels about having these big burly white gentlemen in her living room, and she's like, well, actually it kind of feels like the olden days when I was afraid that you were going to get taken away because you were born a crime. So anyway, this is Trevor Noah. I have been watching some Trevor Noah, and then the other one I really like is Michael McIntyre. I think he's really funny, humor is clean, and after the break, I'm going to come up with some jokes. Now, if you've got some jokes, and I do mean clean jokes, I'm only interested in clean jokes. If you would like to send them in, my topic now, Samad, is this mask. The topic is Mindset Monday, and the topic is how to keep a positive mindset even when things are going not the way you planned. So after the break, I will come back, and please do send us in comments with jokes. Only clean jokes, only interested in clean jokes. And that's my definition of a great comic, is one that can make me laugh without making me feel uncomfortable, keeping it respectful of everyone and humorous. That's what I'm looking for. See you after the break.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us here 24 hours and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio. Relax Radio.
Welcome back. So what I'm just laughing because I just read a comment and it's, please do send in your jokes. So today I'm wearing a mask because I am isolating until I finally get results back from my PCR test, as I was in the same room as someone who tested positive to COVID on Christmas Day of all times. And so I have been super careful. I've been at my sister's house. I've been staying isolated from them. I've been keeping my mask on at all times. I was planning to take it off, and I did take it off for a little bit when I was doing a little bit of recording earlier. And my sister's like, no, you put it straight back on. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. I'm a guest in her house. I completely... The danger is that if I do test positive, even though I'm completely asymptomatic, that if I don't take all precautions, then she will have to, there'll be other ramifications. She and her husband and her daughter will have to take tests. And so how to stay... Samad came up with this is I found this amusing. Sorry, Samad, but I do typos as well. I'm typing along and things come out wrong, and it says the strategy for staying safe from COVID, which, yes, I've washed my hands a lot in the last few months, is best to wash hands and mouse by hot warm water. So yeah, so just keep washing, basically just keep washing. But you actually wrote mouse there, Samad, so that made me giggle. But so make sure you wash your mouse. But and if he squeaks a lot, just sorry. Cool. It's good to have you on board, Samad. Thank you so much for watching the show. So we're looking for jokes. So if you please have any jokes, clean ones that see if we can make everybody laugh. So I've actually just Googled it. I do this a lot. I love Google. Go ogle, as some people say. Oh dear. What's the best thing about Switzerland? I don't know, but the flag's a big plus. Apparently these are supposed to be easy to remember. This is on the readersdigest.com short jokes list. Oh, okay, this one's another good one. I invented a new word, plagiarism. I like that one. Oh dear, that's. And then what do we see? I like the joke about the interrupting cow as well. So the idea is that you do things that are going to keep your spirits up. You deliver, especially if you're isolated in a room and you can't do anything else. Oh, this one suits me. Did you hear about the mathematician who's afraid of negative numbers? He'll stop at nothing to avoid them. There you go. Why would you be afraid of negative numbers? Yeah, well, who wants to dig yourself into a hole? Hey. So just do positive things. I've been, as I say, watching a lot of Trevor Noah, and he is really funny, but also he's very astute. He's a very smart man, and he's very observant. And what I've found with him is that if you well, I've learned an awful lot by following him, but he makes you laugh. He's just constantly making you laugh at the same time as really making you think. He's really going back to that court jester from the Middle Ages, who could get away with really pointing out the truth of the matter, and showing the king and the lords and ladies perhaps the errors of their ways without being beheaded, because it's done with humor, and it's done very astutely, very intelligently. And that, if you haven't encountered Trevor Noah, oh my goodness, go watch Trevor Noah. He's of course doing a live as well. I mean, a COVID version of the Daily Show, and so he's on Facebook, he's on YouTube, and his that's one of the many benefits of COVID, is that so much has gone online that didn't used to be online, that we can all enjoy a lot more than we used to through our computers, or I suppose if you're hooked up to a television, you can still do it through your television. And so so find things that keep you positive. One of the things is go for walks, do exercise. Not my forte. I do like my walks. I love my walks, but I go through phases with exercise. At the moment, COVID hasn't had that effect on me. I haven't been searching for that. Okay, so what else? What else can we do to stay positive when things are not going our way, like you're stuck in a room with a mask? I was going to tell you a little bit more about the story. So the story of the mask is Christmas Day comes and goes, and I found it was only just before I was staying with my grandson, and I only found out just at the point when I moved to be with my sister. I'm in Spain. Lucky me. I mean, I'm lucky. I have been in before I came to my sister's, I was in this beautiful place, and I've had a really lovely time. And that's another key, is gratitude, is to appreciate what you have and not what you don't have. When I got to my sister's, I got the news that someone that we had been in the same room as on Christmas Day, and this is now 5 days later, was ill and with suspected possible COVID. So instant mask on, in your room, stay in your room, keep your mask on, and that way if I should end up testing positive for COVID, then my sister's family don't have to continue isolating, because they haven't been exposed to the virus. So that was last Wednesday. Today's now Monday. Every day is like, have you received the results of the test yet? Have you received the results of the test yet? No, they're going to call on Friday. I think it was in the end. They're going to call on Friday. They never called on Friday. Didn't get the results on Friday. Didn't get the results till the afternoon of Saturday, which meant that it was too late to get any kind of test organised, and the result was positive. So then I had to then organise a test for myself, and so I got online. Get online. Whoops, sorry, just knock you over. And I found one where it was expensive. It was a lot of money to have a COVID test, but oh well. But I couldn't find any that one was like, oh yes, they're going to send you something, and then you send it back. And I'm like, I'm traveling as of Thursday, so I really had to have the test. So I found a place where I booked it, and I couldn't book a time, but they said but my understanding of Spanish, I decided that it meant that you could just basically walk in as long as they were open. It said check the times. I thought it said check the opening times. So, and also I don't have a Spanish phone, so I didn't really want to call them. So I went down this morning to have the test done. And the first thing was, oh, well, you don't have an appointment. So I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm traveling. I really need to have the test done today. Oh, well, we can't fit you in until tomorrow. In the end, I was like, I really need to have the test done today because I need the results tomorrow so I can travel. And so she agreed. And then I gave her the paperwork. And it's like, oh, well, we don't know who these people are. I'm like, oh, my goodness. I have just given these people 120 euros and like a website. They've told me to come here, and these people don't know who they are. I'm like, oh my goodness, I've been conned. Ah! So it was kind of hard to stay positive in that situation, but I stood my ground and I thought, well, you know what, I've got to travel. I've got to know whether or not I'm positive or negative. I'm assuming I'm negative. I've got 0 symptoms, and it's been 10 days since exposure. So I just basically gave them my rabbit doe eyes, and oh, please, can I have the test? And I said, I basically said I'll pay for it, and I said I'd pay for it again, but they still said they didn't have the capacity. But I was sitting there taking up their time in their consultation room, so they relinquished, and I did it with a positive attitude. I didn't get cross. I suppose it's not their fault. They don't know who the people are, which is peculiar. But anyway, so then hi, Happy New Year to you, Tanzila. Thank you for joining us. And Samanda's going to be back after dinner. And so I'm just telling the story about why I'm wearing a mask, why I'm wearing a mask, and how to stay positive. How I ended up with the mask. Oh no, will I test positive for COVID-19? Oh, that's what you meant by will I test positive for COVID-19? Sorry, I've just realised what Harry meant when he said, will I test positive for COVID-19? Yes, da, 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 da. Will I test positive? So I'm just telling you the story about how I actually managed to have the test done. And because I got to the test center and I paid online, and they didn't know anything about it. They didn't know anything about me. They didn't know who the center was that I paid. I'm like, oh my goodness, I have been conned. I've given them 120 euros to some ghost organization that looked legitimate, and I've lost my money. So I persuaded them. I paid again. They did the test. And they said, well, when you get back, you've got to call this number, the number that was on the sheet of paper that I had, and get your money back from them. So I walked. This is a half-hour walk to which is a bit odd to me anyway, that you actually have to go out to find out if you test positive for COVID. Anyway, that's how it is in Spain. So I came back, I called, and they said, oh, no, you've got to go back to the center to get your money back. And I'm like, but they don't know who you are. So, oh, just call us when you get there and we'll sort it all out. But they've got to give you your money back. I'm like, ooh. So off I go again. Trundle, half an hour there. Half an hour wait, for a long wait outside. And then when I got in, I will finish the story after the break. So we're telling the story about how I managed to get a COVID test done and let's find out if I got conned or not after the break.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us here 24 hours and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to
So, will I test positive for COVID-19 wearing the mask? Will my mindset remain positive? Will I still have a positive mindset at the end of this ordeal of being stuck in a room for days, wearing a mask 24/7, just in case I test positive for COVID, to protect my family that are in the rest of the flat? So, before we continue with the story, we are going to have another joke. Well, this joke reminds me of Dom Anglin, who used to do the spirituality and artist show. Why do we tell actors to break a leg? Because every play has a cast. Okay. All right, one more. Oh dear, I don't know if, no, I don't like that one. Yesterday, I saw a guy spill all his Scrabble letters on the road. I asked him, what's the word on the street? Okay, they're not the best jokes in the world, but they are. Any joke will, even if it's a groaner, can help raise up your spirits. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about how to keep your own spirits raised. So to end the long story, well, it's not quite over, because you'll find out next week if I actually tested positive for COVID or not, because I don't get the results till tomorrow. But it turns out it was a legitimate outfit, because I thought for a while there I'd been conned out of 120 euros because the people at the test centre didn't have a clue who I'd paid the 120 euros to. So I paid it again, but when I went back and they spoke to each other, they sorted it out, and I got a refund for my second 120 euros. Yay! So I still don't know if I'm going to test positive, although really we don't have any doubt that I'll be negative, but it's an absolute. You've got to have the test done, and I'm not going to take this mask off until I get the results tomorrow. Right. So what else can we do to stay positive when things go wrong? Now, in the description, I've got a few links for you. So one of them is a PDF, which you can download. It's called Developing a Positive Attitude. And this, I just Google stuff. I've got my own ideas. As you can see, I've got my own way of handling things. But I'm seeing what I can find out to share with you, and a positive attitude. So how do you nurture a positive attitude? How do you choose the positive rather than the negative? As if you've noticed in life, there are people that choose, I suppose it's the half full, isn't it? Is it half empty or half full? You've got the half full people and you've got the half empty people. So there are people that choose to see the negative side. Now, there are advantages to that. I have a very dear friend who, whenever I share a project with her, an idea with her, she's always saying, well, what if this goes wrong? And what if that goes wrong? And what if the other goes wrong? Well, and then she apologizes for pointing out the negatives. Well, actually, I appreciate the negatives. I appreciate having them pointed out, because I'm not the one to think about them. I'm not the one who goes, well, what if? Or what if this, and what if that, and what if the other? Well, actually, it's really useful to have that perspective, to have someone to point out. On any team, you want to have the big dreamer, that's me. You want to have the details person. You want to have the perhaps the creative. I'm creative as well, but I'm more of a dreamer. And then you want to have the person who is really good at the risk assessment. You really want that person on the team who will go, well, what if this, what if that, what if the other? And then you work together. As long as no one's objective is to pull the whole team down, as long as everybody has the objective of building the whole team up, get all the facts in the ring, get all the brainstorming done, and know what the negatives are and work around them, or take them into account with your decision making, that you can still be totally positive about the outcome. And that is the interesting thing about my friend, is that she does see the negative side, and yet she's also a great solution finder. So I think that's the key. You're looking for the positive, you're looking for the solutions. You might notice or think about what the negatives can be, but you're also thinking how you can get a positive outcome. So it's looking for the positive outcome that that if you're always on the lookout for the positive outcome, and as I say, nothing whatsoever, well, in fact, it's a good thing to assess the possible downsides as long as you're looking for the positive outcome at the other end of it. And it isn't like, unless it's something earth stopping, like, okay, we don't have a boat or a bridge and there's a huge expanse of water and there's no way around it. Well, maybe there is a way around it, but it's going to take too long. It's just not a feasible option. In which case you think, well, okay, what else can we do? What else? If we can't go over there, where can we go? But you're always still looking for something positive at the end of it. I'm just going to itemize the things on this particular page. It's a PDF about how to develop a positive attitude, and things that it mentions. Well, it talks about why people use defense mechanisms. It talks about the importance of integrity and credibility, the importance of humility and patience. Oh, patience is really important, because if you don't have patience, you can actually just drive yourself bananas and just get really irritated. And getting irritated is not conducive to a positive attitude. The importance of respect and appreciation, and the importance of focusing on task completion and people. So yeah, that's one of my shortcomings. I have to say, task completion for me is not one of my fortes. Having said that, I respond well to a deadline, but people, I love that. I love that it's talking about, get this a bit closer, right there you go, that's a bit better. I love that it's talking about people. I always talk about gratitude. I learned over many years, I wasn't always a grateful person at all. I really don't know. It's very hard for me to look back and remember what I was like before I discovered gratitude. I don't even know if I was perhaps grateful before I discovered gratitude. I really don't know, but I do know now. I know very clearly now that I live what I call in gratitude. I practice gratitude. I appreciate the fact that I've got this room to be in, and I haven't been turfed out of my sister's house because I was in contact with someone 10 days ago now that tested positive, ended up testing positive for COVID. I'm looking for the positive. I'm looking for what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the fact that everyone is well. And my friend that tested positive for COVID is recovering nicely. Thank you very much. He hasn't been one of those horrible cases that has just collapsed and died. Thank goodness, and gratitude, and thank you, Harry, for the ticker tape. It's so critical to stay positive and we were talking. Okay, so I've gone through the list of various different things on this particular link, and in the description, you've got a lot of links there to give you ideas. But the last thing it said is people. It's, well, let me just remember what the two things. It's, oh no, there's a joke. Oh, I might have to look at the joke again. Importance of focusing on task completion and people. Well, task completion's caught me by surprise, actually. I wasn't expecting to see that. It's kind of thrown me off my... It's definitely thrown me for a loop there. Task completion, because it's not one of my fortes. So again, that's, you bring someone on the team who is task orientated, who is detail orientated, and who's a great achiever. Well, I'm very fortunate to have that in my wonderful colleague Tony Bearden, who after the break, after the news on the hour, we'll be doing the Happy Maths Hour together. After the news, maybe I should do the news. But people. So it's gratitude for everything in your life, but especially people. People are the single most important thing in the world, in my opinion. In animals, anything that's alive, but if we don't love people, if we don't appreciate people, if we're not grateful for people and cats and dogs, and if we don't both nurture and feel nurtured by people, then seriously, what's the point? Really, truly, what is the point of being here if we don't love and appreciate the people and the creatures that are in our lives? So I like that. I like that. And before the next break, we're going to have another joke. Let's see. Oh, I love knock jokes. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of my knock jokes. Knock knock. Who's there? Canoe. Who? Canoe come out to play? Who? Okay. This one is not mine. And this says knock knock. Who's there? Control freak. Okay, now you say control freak. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right, let me do this properly. Knock knock. Who's there? Control freak. Okay, now you say control freak who? Doesn't even let them say control freak who, right? They just have to fill it in, right? And my other knock knock is knock knock. Who's there? Doctor. No, I know. Knock knock. Who's there? Boo. Boo hoo. Don't cry, it's only me. Yeah, there you go. That's the level of my jokes. They're mostly Christmas cracker jokes. So we're going to have another quick break. And after the break, I'm going to share a few more ideas with you on how to stay positive, how to live in gratitude, and how to when life gives you lemons or masks for days and days and days, and you're stuck in a room because you were in the same room as someone who eventually tested positive for COVID, how to remain sane and keep a positive attitude. So after the break, we'll be back with a few more suggestions.
It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. It's time for a show on Relax Radio. It talks about me and you. So listen to us, yeah, 24 hours, and let the happiness come to you on Relax Radio. Tune in to Relax Radio. Relax Radio.
Welcome back to Mindset Monday on Relaxed Radio with myself, Caroline Ainsley, and my mask. In Spain, they call it a mascarilla. Mascarillas. Okay, that's my mascarilla. And I have been wearing this mascarilla since Wednesday. because on Christmas Day, I didn't know, obviously none of us knew it at the time. One of the people there became ill, and then it now got to my sister's house. Oh, he's ill. Oh dear. He's been tested, but they don't have the results yet. So my sister's like, right, in your room, mask on, keep your mask on, stay in the room. I've had the window open. Fortunately, it's not been as cold as it has in England because I'm in Spain. It's been quite cold, but she's like, close the window. I'm like, no. Keep the window open, keep the air flowing, keep the bedroom door closed. And yeah, so this way, I've now had my COVID test this morning, and I'm praying that it's a negative result. It should be. I've got no symptoms, but I completely respect the fact that I should keep my mask on, because apparently 1 in 3 people test positive for COVID have no symptoms. And I'm talking about grown-ups. I'm not talking about children here. So to make sure everybody stays safe, I am respecting the COVID measures. Right, actually, I haven't checked to see if there's been any comments recently, because we've had a couple of lovely people wishing a happy new year. And right, so the next the next thing I want to share with you is someone that I'm a particular fan of. She's been on the show. Her name's Yvette Franklin, and she has a Facebook page called I Am La Única. So it's I am La Única, which stands for the one and only. So it's LAUNICA. It's in the description. And the reason I wanted to share this is because she is just about the most positive person I know. And so I thought I'd like to share her page with you. And let's just start with her cover. Do the best you can until you know better. And then when you know better, do better. I happen to know what quote that's from. That is from Maya Angelou. Isn't that fantastic? Do the best you can until you know better. So that means at any given moment in time, you're doing the best you can, because you don't know better. You are doing the best you can at any given time. Then when you know better, do better. Hey, I can do that. And I have to say that I'm not the world's greatest achiever. I'm a very positive thinker, but I'm not the world's greatest achiever. But this was a huge quote for me. This was so thought-provoking, so uplifting. I'm a huge Maya Angelou fan anyway. I think she just blows my mind. But this quote I hadn't heard. I heard it for the first time last year. Was it last year? Oh dear, what year? It's actually 2018. No, 2019, sorry, was the first time I heard it. Do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. That is like so huge for me. That's just, I absolutely love that quote. It just really does it for me. So what else have we got here? What else can we learn from I Am La Única? Oh, some great questions. What did 2020 show or teach you about yourself? Just put it in the comments for me. What did 2020 show or teach you about yourself? I suppose having asked that question, I have to reveal anything and my thoughts on the matter. So what are my thoughts on the matter? Oh my goodness, I've put myself on the spot here. I suppose 2020 really did show me that I am resilient. I can be resilient. And I suppose a lot of us thought that a global pandemic was like the worst thing you could possibly imagine. And it happened. And what did we do? We just got on with it. Brushed ourselves off and just got on with it, and take the good with the bad and roll with the punches and all that jazz. So what did it teach me about myself is that I really can roll with the punches. And yes, my situation is not ideal, but then neither is many others, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. So that was that's a very revealing question. So if anybody wants to answer that, what did 2020 show or teach you about yourself? Let's see if anybody's no answers yet to that question. Let's see what else and find one more. Oh, see, no, this is it. This is it. Every single quote on this page is just brilliant. It's in the description. It's facebook.com. I am La Unica. What if you lived in creativity instead of survival? So don't be in survival mode. Just literally keep the questions open. If this doesn't work, what else can I do? Where else can I go? How else can I do it? What if? Give you always what if? How can I? What? How can I? Who can I? If I can't do it on my own, who can I talk to that can help solve it, or give suggestions, or ask some great questions? It's just so good. We're going to do one more on this amazing. Let's see if I can find one. Oh, Merry Christmas. There you go. Perfect. Merry Christmas. Doesn't get more positive than that, does it? And oh, there you go. Just a simple little quote. You're doing better than you think you are. If you ask anybody, typically, I certainly am guilty of this, is that I think I'm doing lousy, and other people go, actually, you're doing pretty good. Look where you were here, and look at where you are now, and oh, I really like the way you handled that, and I really like the way you did this, and sometimes it's a good thing to ask others. I do that periodically with one of the groups I'm in. It's put a thing on Facebook to say, give me 3 words that describe me, or what do you think, yeah, just that, just 3 words that describe me. And it's so uplifting, and you discover from that you are definitely doing better than you think you are. So thank you, Yvette, for that. And let me just see, I'm just going to her personal page. I do like this. I really do. That's why I know I kept that up for a reason. Complete this sentence. 2020 was. Right, please put in the comments. Complete the sentence. 2020 was ... What was 2020? I think I put a revelation. It certainly was a revelation. Oh dear, what a year. What a year. Right, so all these links are in the description. And I really found we're looking for ways to be positive, ways to keep to have a growth mindset, have a positive mindset, live in gratitude, how to actually succeed in doing this, even if you might be a bit of a glass half full person. So one of the things I found, which I was quite intrigued by, it's by the Nursing Centre, and it's how to stay positive, ways to stay positive during tough times. I thought this was really cool. Well, so the big thing at the top of it is think positive, talk positive, feel positive. One of the recommendations I came up with, and one of the people, especially in these last few days when I've been literally stuck in this room with this mask on, because I was in the same room as someone who tested positive for COVID on Christmas Day. I have no symptoms, completely asymptomatic, just stuck in here just as a safety measure. And think positive, talk positive, feel positive. I have been watching a lot of comedy. Now, I'm quite selective with my stand-up comedy. If I don't like the way something's going, I'll just move right along. I like it to be clean. I don't want it to be at anyone's expense. I don't like jokes at the expense of the mother-in-law, the wife. the I don't like jokes that are we're laughing at people. So I like the jokes that, to me, a brilliant comedian is one who can make jokes that are clean and happy and aren't at anyone's expense. So I've been really, I like Michael McIntyre, and my really big person at the moment is Trevor Noah. Wrote a book called Born a Crime, because he was literally born a crime. He was from his mother was I don't know if she's Zulu or Sutu from Soweto, and his father was a white Swiss gentleman, and that was illegal under apartheid in South Africa. So he was literally born a crime, and that did not cause him to be the amazing comedian that he is. He's a really bright guy. But anyway, I've been following him, and it's been really helping me, especially the last few days, to think positive, talk positive, and feel positive, let me tell you. So what else do the nurses have to say, the nursing centre? Here we go. We've got a few ideas here. Find inspiration. So look for great films, inspiring films. Consider the source. Think about where the information's coming from. So if it's information that's pulling you down, make sure that it's from a reputable source. And I just don't go there, really. Practice gratitude. Look at that. Practice gratitude. That's my big thing. Practicing gratitude. Always look for, just always be looking for the upside. Always be looking for, what do I have rather than what I don't have. Talks about using your voice, speaking up. Don't engage in activities that you can't control other people. Just don't engage. It's like having road rage with your car. If you're driving, there's no point. Somebody else is doing something wrong. They teach that in the driving correction school. If you ever get a speeding fine, which I would have never done, they say just avoid it. Just walk away. Just walk away. Anger is one of the biggest causes of road accidents, and indeed being miserable. So hey, just leave it alone. Walk away. Surround yourself with positive people. Escape. Make time for yourself. Go for walks, and always look for the silver lining. Smile, even behind your mask. I'm smiling. And say hello. Talk to other people. This is so lovely. It's the nursingcentre.com. 10 ways to stay positive during tough times. This is just so coming. I can tell it's just coming from such a loving place. I highly recommend you look up that link. Right. Well, it's time for a change over to the Happy Maths Hour. So I'm going to thank you thank you, especially Tanzila and Samad, for joining me today, and see you next week for Mindset Monday. I'm hoping I'll actually have a guest. The guests I had last week and this week didn't pan out for whatever reason, and so but next week I've got someone very exciting in mind, someone highly entertaining, and yes, a huge positive mindset person. So I'll see you next week. Thank you for joining me, and please stay tuned for the Happy Maths Hour.